Hello everyone, Eric Bird here, and today is day 6 of social distancing. Hope all of you are enjoying this beautiful Monday as much as you can. The sun was shining here today in San Diego, and it was nice to get out there and put my face in that sun for about an hour today. It felt really good. So if you have that nice weather, get out there and enjoy that and the fresh air while you can. So that being said, going to jump into day 6, and today's topic is the placebo effect. The placebo effect comes from one of my absolute favorite books of all time. This was a book that changed my life in such a profound way. The way that I operate every single day was changed by this book. This book is called The Happiness Advantage. The Happiness Advantage, written by the Harvard professor who teaches the happiness class. His name is Shawn Achor. Amazing read, and the placebo effect really is one of the chapters. So giving you a little bit of context, because I know some of you may go, I don't like to read, I'm not a big reader. I really never was a big reader. Growing up, for those that know me, in my early years, elementary school, I'd be sitting in the front of class and I'd wake up to the third or fourth Earth to Eric, because I would completely be zoning out, head in the clouds. That's just how I was as a child. My mother, God bless her, she'd put me in the kitchen and sit me in a chair for 10 minutes to read, and I would just stare at that paragraph and I would just daydream about the forts I was about to go build with me and my buddies on Spruce Street. So reading was not a part of my life. It was very challenging for me because I would just quickly daydream. So that being said, around 14, 15 years ago, when I started getting into leadership, one of my mentors, he shared with me that leaders are readers. And that really made an impression on me. And that was when I really started to read books. And it wasn't just about leadership. A lot of it was just personal development and personal growth. And I really started to get hooked. I started reading at least a book a month. Now I still do about 2 books a month. Sometimes it's one if it's a longer book with a lot of content, and you don't want to rush through it. You know, at the end of the day, you want to make sure you receive the message and you're able to make that change and make that impact in your life. So also, one of the important things for me, and everybody's a little bit different, but is when I read. It's part of my morning ritual. And for a lot of us, our brains start to get cluttered throughout the entire day. You start to have a lot more things that happen, more thoughts that enter your mind, and it makes it difficult for you to be present and read. How many times have you glanced through a paragraph and you have to keep reading the same paragraph over and over again because your brain keeps wandering? In the morning, we have about a 20-minute window when our brain is in a theta wave state. And that is when your brain is calm and you don't have a lot of that chatter yet, and you're able to be present and you're able to read. You had Edison and Albert Einstein that really took advantage of those theta states, and it's when you first wake up and when you're falling asleep, and it's a great time to absorb information. So if you believe right now that you're not a reader, you can change that as long as you have a big enough reason to read. We only have one shot at this life. Squeeze the most out of it. Make yourself better. Become the best version of yourself, and you'll find more joy, more happiness, and more fulfillment on a daily basis. That I promise you. So jumping into the chapter with the placebo effect, there's a lot of case studies in here, and one of them is done in Japan, and they took 13 individuals. So there's 13 individuals that are highly allergic to poison ivy. So they bring all 13 of them in. And they let them know that on their right arm, they're going to rub this poison ivy. So they rub this on their right arm. And of course, there's the response, there's the redness, there's the boils, there's the itchiness. All 13 of them get the poison ivy response. And then they share with them, hey, on your left arm, we're going to rub a harmless shrub. Out of those 13, 2 of them have a poison ivy response. So there's 2 people that had a response on both arms, and the other 11 only had it on the right arm. Okay? So here's the kicker. It was the opposite. It was the opposite. On the left arm, that was truly where the poison ivy was. On the right arm, it was the harmless shrub. So 11 out of 13 people who are highly allergic to poison ivy had zero response because they believed that it wasn't poison ivy. Only 2 people had the response on both arms. Let that sit in for a minute. That's how profound the placebo effect is, what we believe, and how much that changes our physiology. So that's why it's so important for you to be aware of every thought that you have, every thought that you hold on to, because your body will adapt to what it believes. Right? When it comes down to working out, I'm sure many of you experience this, whether you're running or lifting weights. If you start to tell yourself you're tired or it's too heavy, what happens? You immediately hit a wall. Okay, but when your self-talk is, this is light, this is easy, I've got miles left in me, your body will rise to the occasion because that's what you're telling it and that's what it believes. So I encourage you, check this book out. You can get it for $10 used on Amazon, maybe $12. I believe it's $12 right now as well, if you don't want to get a used book. But this is one of those books that will absolutely change your life. It's $10 or $12 to make $1 million impact on your life. It will completely change the way that you think, your thoughts, your actions, which again, change your life. All right, so again, it's called The Happiness Advantage. Shawn Achor, the happiness professor of Harvard. So absolutely worth checking it out. And right now, it's very important for us especially to be monitoring the thoughts that we have right now because it impacts our body in such a big way. All right, so think of that every day. So that's the message for today. I'm going to draw one more card. The deck that I pulled from yesterday was the traditional one, and this one is do-it-yourself therapy. So these are totally random, and let's see what I pull here today. Is the silent treatment a method you use when angry? Well, I try not to get angry too often. And I don't know that I give people the silent treatment. I think years ago, maybe if there was a conflict, I would avoid it. Instead of giving people the silent treatment, maybe I would avoid it. But I've learned over the last couple of years to take it head on. A good friend of mine, Zoe, he has the philosophy of conflict is something that brings us closer when we're friends and family. You know, and so many of us are wired to run away from conflict. But a little bit of healthy conflict is good. It's okay to tell people how you feel and hash those things out and have those conversations. Yeah, you might raise your voice, you might yell a little bit, but get through it, hug it out, and move forward. And you make it a habit of doing that. It's just a much healthier style of communication. And when you communicate better, your relationships will be more rich, which is, I know, something that's important for all of us. So, when you're angry, do you use the silent treatment? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Love to hear your thoughts on the message for today as well. So you stay healthy, social distancers, and I will see you tomorrow.